Authorities in Germany have given the go-ahead to a controversial plan for a joint venture with Russia's state-owned nuclear energy company, Rosatom. It would allow a French-Russian consortium to manufacture fuel rods for Soviet-designed power plants in Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, Finland, Hungary and Slovakia. The rods would be manufactured here in Germany. Russia's nuclear industry has not faced the same sanctions as its oil and gas sectors due to Eastern European countries' reliance on its technology. Our political correspondent Jenny Graham is following this story. After all the trouble with the Russian-German Nord Stream gas project, which made Germany so dependent on Russia, why would Berlin approve a joint nuclear power project with the Russians?
Yes, there's quite a lot of complex details about this story. It may seem strange that this project has been given the green light, not just considering the Nord Stream project, but also considering Germany's position on the Ukrainian war since Russia's invasion in 2022. What might seem even stranger is that this has come from a state-level environment ministry here in Germany where this facility is based. And they are the ones that have given the go-ahead for this. We've had some conflicting statements, although, from that Environment Ministry. The State Environment Minister there himself reiterated today that in his view, it's fundamentally wrong, it's a quote from him, to have business dealings and close cooperations with Russia's state nuclear company. To put it quite simply, they had no choice. Rosatom is not as restricted as the heavily sanctioned defence industry in Russia. The Environment Minister in Lower Saxony today went on to say that before this decision was given the green light, the government here in Berlin, in a letter, an advisory letter, had said to them that there was no legal basis for denying permission for this to go ahead. So the state-level politicians, they really had no way to block this.
It's interesting that this project isn't covered by sanctions on Russia.
Yes, Rosatom has not faced the full extent of blocking sanctions from the US, the EU or the UK, all of which continue to import Russian nuclear fuel and uranium. The crux of it is many countries, especially here in the EU, still rely on that nuclear fuel and also components made by Rosatom subsidiaries and facilities here in the EU to maintain and modernise their nuclear reactors, in the case of this factory here in Germany, making nuclear fuel rods. Now, it has been able, Rosatom that is, to circumvent the stricter sanctions due to the ongoing reliance, really, of the EU on the corporation itself.
Jenny, what are critics saying about the risks of this joint venture?
Well, critics have expressed concerns about possible espionage, sabotage, cyber attacks, and also the manipulation or potential manipulation of machinery or the software that goes into these sensitive, very sensitive nuclear facilities. Also, the possibility that Russian employees may be able to access sensitive data through technical contacts at these sites. As for what's being done to mitigate this, and I've got this from the company itself, Rosatom employees are generally not permitted to enter the factory premises. Exceptions to this are only made in very limited cases. Hardware and software of the Russian machines must be externally inspected. Employees must also receive regular training on potential espionage and sabotage attempts. And further requirements to this may be implemented in light of any new information. So that's what's being done to mitigate this, despite, the heavy criticism.
The other question I have, of course, is why these nuclear fuel rods will be built here in Germany, considering it shut down its last remaining nuclear power plants in 2023.
Well, that gradual phase-out began really in the light of the Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan, way back when Angela Merkel was still Chancellor during her time in office. The reality is that this company here, the French company with its base in Lower Saxony, has been producing elements for these nuclear reactors for decades. So while Germany has phased out nuclear power, some of that nuclear architecture still exists or is still being produced here for many countries, in this case France.
Okay, you heard it from DW political correspondent Jenny Graham. Thank you very much for bringing us up to date on that.